Chairperson, my brother and ministerial colleague, the Honorable Collin Croal, officials from the Ministry of Housing and Water, officials from the Ministry of Legal Affairs, members of the RDC, and councillors from the NDC, and of course, respected elders and those of you who are gathered here. First of all, let me say how happy I am to be here with you this afternoon and to be part of what was described as a simple but a significant ceremony this afternoon. Now, sometimes we forget our immediate history. I'm not even going back. Immediate history. And we lose patience and we lose focus because we forget our immediate history. And we become impatient when promises are made and they are not delivered. And sometimes it is justifiable and sometimes it is not. So take this issue that we are dealing with. Now, just backpedal in your mind a short 15 years ago, 2009, here where we are standing, this entire locality was cow pasture, abandoned lands. Just 15 years ago. And today, look at what has happened in this cow pasture that used to be a cow pasture. And what becomes evident is that we had to work from ground zero from cow pasture and bring it to where it is. And today, and we are 5 years out of government. So discount 5 years from that. And today we are here with over 60 titles to deliver to 60 families, certifying them to be owners of the home that they are occupying. These titles establish beyond any legal doubt that you own the land and buildings upon those lands to which those titles relate. You can now, for the first time in your life, go to a bank and take that document and secure financing to build your house, expand your house, or to do so many different things in life. For the first time in your life, you can, by that document, conduct a proper and legal sale, if you wish, for the property to which that title relates. Now, for the first time in your life, you can make a will so that your children and your beneficiaries can become the owner of the land and building to which that title relates. For the first time in your life, you can add the name of any person you wish to that title to make them the owner of the land and the building to which that title relates. That is what is called empowerment. That is what is called empowerment. And our government is committed to empowering all of our people. As we are here, our president is in Region 10, Region 9, And he has announced a package that will allow 600 persons in that region to own their own property by a grant of $1 million from the government, along with an arrangement made with 2 commercial banks for the persons to go and borrow an additional $2 million at a monthly installment rate of repayment of $14,000 per month. Where in the world will you get that? And that is the vision of our government. We give, we empower. Right here in Region 3, 2 dams away from here at the Kendran, we will be building shortly a state-of-the-art hospital for the people of Region 3. 1 walk away from where we are. At Leonora, a private investor is building a modern medical complex. A mall is going there. We are bridging a brand new bridge across the Demerara River. Then right here in Region 3, we are going to build one of the largest industrial operations in the Caribbean, the Gas to Shore project, right here in Region 3 at Wales, that will guarantee prosperity of this region, if not the entire country, that singular project. That is only the tip of the iceberg. And that is what differentiates our political party and government from every other in Guyana. That's the difference. We don't merely talk. We deliver. And our track record is there to substantiate our delivery and performance whenever we are in office. And when we are out of office too. Where is Linda? She left? There is a young lady who came to see me just now. She was here. Her name is Linda. She got a core home from the Ministry of Housing as a single mother in Tushin when we were in the government from 2011 to 2015. She got title from the Ministry of Housing. Title. Because she was working in Georgetown, she couldn't stay in the house at Tushin because she couldn't travel, couldn't afford to travel from here to Georgetown. So she was staying in Georgetown and coming home here every weekend. One weekend, when she came home, she saw on her house a sign, this property is owned by Ministry of Housing during Abdu government. They went there while she was out and nailed a sign on the house repossessing it from her. I took the matter to the court and returned the property to her. And she was not singular. I did it for dozens of core homes. These are single mothers with children who don't have the ability to own a home, but got it through a funded program run by the Ministry of Housing. The same thing that they did to rice farmers in West Coast Berbice. We give them lands through the MMA. PPP government, when we left government, they took back those lands from those people illegally and gave it to their own cronies. And these are Afro-Guyanese rice farmers I'm talking about. So if anybody is in doubt. No race was spared. Linda is Indo-Guyanese and the rice farmers are Afro-Guyanese. It is the PPP out of government, that fought back for those lands and gave it back to those people. The point I am making is that when they are in government, they took, they never gave. They took from the people. And in and out of government, we give. And that is the difference. This initiative here is not confined to Zeelugt. We have done this at Enterprise on the East Coast, where we distributed some 70-something titles. We are doing this on the Quarantine Coast. We are doing it in West Coast Maurice. We are doing it on the Essequibo Coast. And we are doing it on the East Coast of the Marara. The other day I was in Nabakalis and Golden Grove, doing the same thing, regularizing people's occupation. The opposition leader, Aubrey Norton, went in there and abused me down for going what he calls his constituency. Well, I don't know that anybody got any constituency in Guyana. We have one constituency and it is called Guyana, and we will go in every part of that constituency and serve all the constituents of all the constituencies in this country. Then he's telling the people that we are going there to play politics. We are going there to distribute title. What he going there to do? What did he do from 2015 to 2020? What did he do for those people when they were in government? Nothing. And that is the difference. But they continue in their diatribe, intending to divide our people. So they will look at this crowd, they will look at you. You see the press is here. When this becomes part of the news, they will look at you and they will come and they will say, oh, only Indian people getting title here. When I go to Golden Grove, it was only Afro-Guyanese, but I get cussed for a different reason. I'm going into their constituency. But our government remains unaffected by those who do not wish to become part of the developmental agenda of our country, and who wish to divide our people and divide our country, because they believe in divide and conquer. We believe in unifying and winning. And we will, and we are succeeding. This issue, as Collin Croal said, is not new. From 2015 to 2020, it was there. They could have come here and done it. Couldn't they? Yes, they could. They could have. Now, did they? No, they didn't. But I will give you, and I can give you, examples of how they give themselves lands and how they give their cronies lands. Is that a didn't give out land? Go to Wales Estate and you will see what they did with the lands at Wales Estate. The Vice President was there and he was talking about it. In the coming weeks, we are going to make, the government will make some stunning disclosures of how much land they give out by the acres at Ogle, prime lands. at Providence, at Wales, and at various parts, riverfront lands. Do you know that from Plastic City to Crane, the entire seawall front was given to one man? You don't know that. You know how many parts of the Demerara River banks were given to cronies of theirs? You see, we are busy running government, pushing developmental agenda, working every day to ensure a better quality life for the people of this country, bringing investments, and doing all that is necessary to ensure a better future for our country, that we don't get time to deal with this skullduggery and corruption that occurred under their government. But since they have picked up a crescendo recently, we will now have to continue to make the disclosures. We had started when we first got into government. You know how many lands we had to bring back to the state? Thousands and thousands of acres that they gave to themselves, friends and cronies. But the ordinary Guyanese, ask them a house lot. Collin, how much house lot they distribute?
7,500 in 5 years.
In 5 years, they delivered 7,500. How much we delivered in 2021?
In 2 years, we've done just under 15,000.
15,000 we have done in 2 years. They did half of that in 5 years. And they didn't do any new scheme. They distributed scheme house lots in areas that we developed when we were in government. They can't point to a single housing area that they said, you know what, we moved that from Canefield, we moved that from cow pasture, and today's a housing scheme. They can't point to any part of Guyana in which they have done that. I say that to you so that you appreciate what your government is doing, what our government is doing, and what your government is doing. We know that there are difficulties. We know, for example, the cost of living issues. We know that. We live in this country. We are not oblivious to it. But you must also know of the measures that we have implemented. I see the other day they're sharing what Prime Minister Mia Martley has done in Barbados recently, lowering taxes on fuel to cater for the cost of living increases in Barbados. We did that since last year. There is zero tax on kerosene, and it's the lowest tax on fuel and diesel in Guyana. In terms of importation of goods, we have put the cost of freight, readjust the cost of freight to pre-COVID rates, so that when they calculate duties and excise taxes, they don't calculate it at the right freight rate. Because you know how you calculate taxes, you add the freight to the cost of acquisition of the goods, and it is the total that you pay a percentage on for duties and taxes. We pass a law, a regulation, to allow that freight cost to be calculated at pre-COVID value. To bring a container from China now is about 16,000 US. Pre-COVID, it was about 4,000 US. So we are calculating freight for goods coming into the country at 4,000 US when the rail freight is 16,000. Why we are doing that? So that you, the end consumer, should get the goods at a lower price. All the cash grants that we are giving, the We Care cash grant for farmers, cash grant for fishermen, cash grant for hinterland people, COVID cash grant, bonus for the armed forces, all of that are intended to assist with the cost of living. So it's not that we are not doing anything. But you also have to understand that the world is reeling from this phenomenon. These things are not happening in Guyana. They don't originate in Guyana. The largest producer of fuel and food, grains, Russia and Ukraine are at war. That has serious implications for the prices of goods. China is the world's factory, the global manufacturer of goods. They have problems. When they have problems, we are going to have problems. The world is one integrated global village. But it will not last for long. We have to ride it out as we have to ride out everything else, as we have ridden out everything else. But what you can take, what you can be assured of, is that you have a government that is working every day to protect you as far as possible from the repercussions of these global phenomena, and working every day to ensure that you have a better quality life and we are building a better future for your children and our children. And that is what is important. You don't ever have to doubt that. And that is why, while you may be reading in the newspapers about big hotels in Georgetown and about massive investments and huge companies that are coming to Guyana, we know in the government that immediately you can't connect with that. You don't see that success or that big investment translating into your lives, because it will take time before you actually enjoy the benefits of those investments. We know that. And that is why we have to continue to spend time in your communities, one by one, to ensure that the real things that affect you are kept at a minimum or completely removed. We are a government whose focus is intense in that regard. And we want to assure you of that. So, these titles here is one step of many that will come. 60 or more titles may appear insignificant in the larger scope of things. But it's 60 families of at least, let us say, an average of 4 persons each. 6 4 is 24, 240 human beings, lives. 64. Over 250 lives are positively affected. You now have something that you can transmit and transfer to generations to come. So I want to echo Minister Croal's sentiments regarding the patience which you have exercised. And it took a long time, but anything that relates to land is a tedious process. Anything. And that is why we always have, and perhaps will have for a very, very long time, a backlog in the house lot program. and housing program. As hard as Collin Croal is working and his competent staff, they're working 24 hours a day sometimes, weekends. But every corner of the country you go, you meet somebody who got a house, that application pending. Since 2009, since 2010, and they're not getting through. Not only because the system by the very nature is a slow one, because as I said, we are beginning most times from ground zero. We are take a cane field and mow it down and grade it down and fill up all the trench, then demarcate road and then dig gutter and then survey and then plot out lot by lot and then bring in GWI water, then ensure that GPL come and run the lines. Then go to start to process the individual title, get you to sign agreement of sale. First of all, allocate to you, then get you to sign agreement of sale. Then the process of the title. It's a long and arduous task. Not easy. But we are putting our shoulders to the wheel every day. And these are the people here, the workers of the ministry, who are doing the bulk of the work. And they can't move at a faster pace. The other thing is that as our people become more empowered, more uplift, as the society develops, your ability to afford gets greater. Your purchasing power increases. So more and more people can afford their own homes. So you have a system that is inherently slow, and then you have a population that is growing with rapidity, whose financial capability is progressively increasing to buy the land. So you have forces that are competing with each other. And that is also leading to the delay. If we were not doing well, if the country was not doing well, if you were not doing well, you wouldn't have so many people being able to own their own homes, and perhaps we could have supplied the demand if the demand was not growing with the intensity that it is growing now. And the last point I want to make, you will note that, as Collin said, various agencies of the government collaborated in making this possible. Housing, Legal Affairs, Sugar Welfare Fund, the Land Registry. And the bulk of the expenses in relation to the issuance of these titles were borne by the state, not you. You are getting these titles after paying a nominal fee. If you were to pay the true cost of these titles, each of you would have paid several $100,000. The government absolved that cost, and that is what we are doing wherever we do this program. And in the end, you are getting a title. So I want to apologize for the length of time that it took us to reach this place, reach this stage, but we are here now, and I want to thank you for your patience. And lastly, I want to congratulate all of the beneficiaries who will receive titles today. Thank you very much.